Guys, we are back. Denny Dumas podcast after a, Carl, what is it? 4-month hiatus? It was a little mental break for both Carl and I. We're back. And fitting that we have one of our favorite guests back of all time, Dr. Nav Sodhi, the best optometrist in BC. Super fun conversation, guys. It goes from eyes to food preferences in Greater Vancouver, best pizza places. You're going to want to check this out. To like big business ideas and how we want to grow our individual businesses. Super fun. Check it out. We love you guys. Later. We rocking. Carl, we're back.
This feels weird, Denny.
No, it doesn't. It feels like every other fucking podcast. No, I'm just kidding. It does not feel like every other podcast because my best friend in the entire world is here.
Me?
Now, we were talking about pizza.
Yes, I love pizza.
Top 5 in Vancouver.
Okay.
They don't have to be in order because ordering, for me, picking between like number 3, 4, 5, 6 are very difficult.
Yeah.
Unless you have them side by side and I've never done
Even
that.
number one, to be number one, that's a bold statement.
It's bold.
So I like to
bold.
rank all restaurants, but I give them like a vague number between 1 and 3 and 4 and 5. At Name a Cuisine, I have like a top 3. I'm actually gonna start a blog soon, so just watch out for that. But
fuck yeah, what is it gonna be called?
oh, it's not gonna be like words. It'll be just Nav's rankings of like Thai food restaurants,
Nav's
Greek
Eats.
restaurants. Nav Eats, Never Eats. Sorry, but yeah. Sodhi Eats? No, Never Eats. Yeah, so I think, for pizza, Barbarella's up there. Farina's up there. Via Tavera is definitely up there. Then there's Don't Argue, which I think closed down, which was up there.
I never got to go to that place and I heard it was good.
Very good pizza.
Okay.
And then even like Cotto. Have you been to Cotto in Burnaby?
Yeah. It's not my favorite in Burnaby.
What's your favorite Burnaby?
Pasta Amore.
Never been there.
On Willingdon, right here.
Oh, like on
The
Dawson.
pizza is very good there.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's simple ingredients. Like the toppings are very simple. Like it's like prosciutto and mushrooms, or like Italian sausage and mushrooms. Like it's not like a meat lover's pizza from Pizza Hut or Domino's or something.
I don't care for that, to be honest. Crust it's all about crust for me.
Yeah.
Good crust is all I need.
Do you like a floppy crust?
No, well,
because you like Neapolitana style,
yeah,
right?
that's my favorite type of crust. And then I don't want it to be too floppy. I don't want soggy because that's when they fucked up.
Yeah.
I think Barbarella does a very good crust, and like theirs is just floppy enough. Don't want it to be too hard. Don't want it to be floppy. You know what I mean? But also, Corduroy's is really good too.
Where is that?
It's on like Granville. No, it's on it's in Vancouver. It's like I think Granville and Second are right by the bridge actually. No, sorry, can be in
Corduroy. I need to check that place out. Haven't been there.
Very good. And then for like fast food chains, Papa John's. Believe it or not.
Interesting.
There's one underneath at work, and like Domino's is good, Panago's good, but Papa John's better pizza, better toppings, better pizza.
Better ingredients.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't work for them.
I don't know if I've ever had a Papa John's pizza.
Really?
Carl, you neither?
Never.
No?
So next time you come to my work at Lynn Valley Optometry.
Is there Papa John's in there?
There's one right below us. Okay. And they do calzones too.
Oh, deadly.
But yeah,
as soon as you said calzone, all that went through my head was that Seinfeld episode where Kramer has to go get the calzones because George gets kicked out of the place or something.
Yeah. There's not enough calzone places here. Like when I lived in the States, there's so many like calzone places with good crusts, and like it was like its own food group. Here, it's like a add-on to a random place.
Totally.
There's no good calzone places. Idea.
Anything on commercial that you like?
So Marcello's used to be really good a couple of years ago.
It used to be. What happened?
I don't know.
Because I used to go there once a month.
Yeah.
Because the pizza was unreal. Super good. The last time I went there, I hadn't been there in like a year. and I went there maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and it was very different.
It's very different, and like it's good, but it's not great.
It used to be like what we were talking about.
Top 3.
Not floppy, not firm, right in the middle.
The perfect little amount there.
And this time, I think they changed the dough recipe too, because the crust was different, and it was much more like greasy and floppy.
Yeah. Me and Aaron went to a place is right across the street from Marcello's. I forgot the name of it, but it starts with an F. Pretty good, and their happy hour is awesome. It's right across the street. I can't remember the name of it, but it was very good. Or good. Like, Famosa, yes. I'd rank them between 7 and 10.
Famosa would be 7?
7 to 10, roughly.
7 to 10 out of 10?
Out of the top ones in Vancouver.
Shit.
Sorry.
I thought you were ranking
scale.
out of 10.
On my ranking scale, between numbers 7 and 10.
I get it.
Yeah.
I've never had, what's the one in Victoria everyone loves?
Victoria?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I've tried to go there 3 or 4 times, and every time there's a lineup, which obviously is a good sign, but I'm not interested in waiting an hour for pizza.
It's arguably 2-3 for me.
What would be number 1?
I don't know, like Barbarella probably, but
Barbarella.
just because like
they're more unique in their toppings
and the crust. And they're the wine, which is amazing, and the Balboa, which is just spicy. So like spicy. So it's good.
You obviously are somewhat biased towards your grandma's cooking or your mom? Your mom's?
Moms and dads. Different styles, different food.
If we're talking about commercial establishments, Indian restaurants throughout Greater Vancouver.
Let me go my ranking scale again. So now 1 and 2.
Because I love Indian food a lot.
Yeah.
And around me, the one that I order from the most is the one on Kingsway.
Bombay
Saffron.
Yeah, Saffron. Yeah.
I think it's pretty good, but you told me it's not that good.
Well, so it's good, but then with Indian food, I've had a lot in my life, and I've had Indian food here, Indian food in India, and just my parents cooking. Like, I know Indian food well.
Fair.
And I think the top 3, not in any particular order, well, top 2 are Tasty Indian Bistro.
Really? Because I always thought that was like a prestigious Cactus Club version of Indian food.
Like they're very expensive, but the food is actually very, very good. Like my parents go there because the food is good. And my parents don't like spending money on Indian food because they're like, we can make it at home. Why spend money? So no, they don't like to spend money on Indian food. So they like to go there. And that's the only Indian restaurant they go to besides the original Tandoori King, which is the one
Kingsway, 59th.
Main and 53rd, or 55th. 57th.
I thought there was one on Fraser.
It used to be on Fraser and 67th. And then they built a new location on Main and 57th. I've
eaten there once.
Really?
Yeah, the Fraser one. That was like maybe 7 years ago.
There's 2 though. This is really interesting. So there's a Tandoori King and then the original Tandoori King. And they're actually right across the street from each other. Because the owners split up and then the chef kept one, which is the original. And then
did they change their name to the original Tandoori?
They were always, I don't know. I have no idea actually. But there's the original Tandoori King, which is like where the chef is Sharonjeet. He's awesome. Where he owns. And then there's like his business partner started his own, but didn't have the chef, so it was crap. So people often go there because it was the new location like 10 years ago. And then Sharonjeet opened his up like 5 years ago on Main Street now. The original Tandoori King, if he's there, it is the best Indian food ever. He's not there a lot because his catering business is probably 90% of business now, but it's really good. One day when I get married, you'll experience it.
He'll be there?
Oh, he'll be there.
What's his name?
Sharonjeet.
I want to meet him.
He did two of my sister's events, and he does probably every other, not every other, but he does a lot of good Indian.
What's his
events.
like go-to dish? What's his like signature?
So I know my favorites with him. So butter chicken is still, every Indian person loves butter chicken. It's not an Indian dish. It's like an English dish.
Is it?
Yeah. So butter chicken is made by the British. And it's kind of like orange chicken, where it's like not a Chinese dish, but it's made by other people. but it is made in England as like a dish, and we love it though. I love it. It's delicious. It's creamy. It's fatty. It's full of like everything you shouldn't eat, but it's so good.
The flavors is just unreal.
Yeah, and like
I
chicken
could just
tikka
drink the sauce.
Yeah, chicken tikka masala is like what is based on. That's just like more tomato based, less cream. And then lamb korma is amazing. That's probably my favorite dish there. And in most restaurants, it's my favorite dish. And then like palak paneer is really delicious as well. And like even Rogan Josh or vindaloo are really good too.
What's his thing? If someone listening to this podcast is like, I'm craving Indian food, I'm going to the original Tandoori King.
Yeah.
What should they order?
This is exactly what I would order, okay?
Do they like tandoori chicken? Is he?
Oh yeah, so good.
Dude, it's unreal.
So this is what I would order if I went there. So when we all go there, we're gonna order a seed kebab. We're gonna order a tandoori chicken kebab. Then we're gonna order a paneer pakoda, which is probably the best.
What is that?
It's
I don't know if I had that.
Paneer, which is like the tofu, like it's like cheese.
Okay.
And then a pakoda means like deep fried, so it's like a deep fried cheese stick, but way better.
How do you go wrong with that?
And that's probably my favorite thing they make there. Like as a child, I went there like once a month, and I loved it. Or those three as appetizers. Then I would go to the butter chicken. I would do the lamb korma. I would do the palak paneer. And then I would probably do like the dal makhani. Like dal makhani means like dal is lentils and makhani means butter. So this is lentils and butter. So good.
When you go to an Indian restaurant, obviously you can pronounce all the words on the menu, which is an advantage. Well, it sounds like much better than me. When you go to other restaurants, for example, I went to a German restaurant with our real estate team for like a Christmas dinner. I think last year, maybe 2 years ago. And you look at these words, they're clearly not English. There's a bunch of letters together that I've never seen before.
Schnitzel.
Ever. Are you the guy that points? Or are you the guy that like attempts to pronounce?
I attempt to pronounce it and point. I'm like, I'll have schnitzel is easy, but like I'll have the Bogenheiser and then it's a question, hoping they'll say yes, you can have that.
There's one at I go to lunch in New West by our office at Freshie.
Freshie's great.
Often.
Yeah.
And there's a bowl or a wrap, you can get whatever you want. And it's called Owaka, but it's spelled O-A-X.
Yeah.
And so the first time I walked in there, I was like, Owaxeta?
Oh, it's embarrassing.
Well, I'm sorry, how do you pronounce that? And the woman told me. I'm like, okay, now I know. Owaka, right?
Yeah. I think it's a city in central Mexico, or near Mexico City.
Okay. Well,
where there's pyramids, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm the guy that always tries.
Yeah.
Italian restaurant, Indian restaurant, like whatever. It's so funny, man.
There's a lot of words I can't say.
Whenever you order like on or over the phone, when you call into an Indian restaurant or whatever for me, I always like try to say the words, but I say them really fast.
Yeah.
I'll get one, like the words that I can pronounce, like chicken. I'll say really clearly. And then the rest, I'll speed up. Be like, yeah, we'll get one chicken tikka masala. Like what? Tikka, yeah, whatever. Like,
yeah.
I probably say it somewhat incorrect.
No, that's pretty good, actually. I'm impressed with that one. I was trying to explain to my 2 Australian coworkers how to say Rogan Josh, which is like a lamb dish, delicious. But like because they have accents, they just couldn't say Josh, and it was very irritating to watch him say like Jewish. I'm like, nope, just let's just stop here. Just they'll know what you mean.
Yeah.
I was really happy about like online ordering because it just saves the whole awkward like, can I get the
100%.
I don't know, like General Tao's chicken. Like that's easy to say now, but like I should say General Tao's chicken and stuff like that.
A lot of those restaurants, when you call them, they're very busy. Mm-hmm. Like they're busy for a reason. Their food is delicious. Yep. That's why you call them. But when you call them, it's loud in there.
Yeah.
And they can't hear a damn word you're saying.
Yeah.
So they're yelling at you and you're yelling back. I'm sitting in a quiet apartment. I put my TV on mute and I'm like yelling, 1 chicken tikka masala. And they're like, I cannot hear what you're saying. It's like, oh man, it's such a joke for me. I just laugh so much, but
Yeah.
here's what it is.
It is what it is, right?
Skip the dishes. Thank you for inventing the online service. But I don't like that they take a big chunk of the small restaurants.
I feel like we were just talking about this last week, and it sucks because it takes such a percentage. And
it's such an easy. I think a lot of restaurants don't have online ordering. The Chinese restaurant below me, actually, which has phenomenal noodles. They're what's it called? I don't know. Their noodles are ridiculous. They're like homemade. You like go in there to pick up your stuff, and people are making
they're
the
hand stretched noodles.
They're all handmade noodles.
Nice.
It's super good. But they have an online ordering platform on their website, which is awesome because then you skip the middleman of skip the dishes or whatever. But most of those like little one-off restaurants maybe can't afford to. I don't know what it would cost to put that on your website. 10 grand, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
A lot.
probably 10 grand. But then to keep it maintained and things like that. Yeah. But I think I prefer to order directly from the website just because I know all the money's going to them, and like I don't mind picking it up. I just don't want to call them.
Totally.
Like,
Calling is so awkward.
At this age, we
awkward.
hate calling people.
Yeah.
Like,
I get it. No, for sure.
if I could text them my order, like Domino's did this like years ago in the States, where you could text them your pizza order,
That's super
and they would text you back. And I was like, that is amazing. I don't want to talk to people.
Especially if you live on a weird street name.
Yeah.
Like Buchanan is a difficult one for a lot of,
Buchanan.
like on the phone, it's difficult to understand.
Yeah.
I say Buchanan, they're like, you're going to have to spell that. So I'm like spelling the street, B-U-C. And then they're like, sorry, did you say D or B? I'm like, oh, fuck.
C for Charlie.
But if you can text or just order online.
I love it. It makes life easier. And a lot of times what I've also noticed, this is a fun fact. So Uber charges a 10% service fee, but Skip the Dishes doesn't. I don't know if they're taking more off the back end, but it's actually cheaper to order from Skip the Dishes. So they realized recently.
I think I've used Uber Eats once or twice in my life.
Yeah.
But if I'm ordering from a place that doesn't have delivery, it'll be Skip the Dishes.
One nice thing Uber Eats does is they constantly give me 30% off coupons if I order $50
From Uber?
from Uber Eats. And then I realized if I pick it up, I still get 30% off, and I save every single fee. So it's like
Nice.
it's just food I'm going to pick up anyways. I'm like, okay, let's just get extra. And
Where's the 30% coming from though? Is it coming from the restaurant?
No, it's not. It's Uber. It's Uber. So like everyone wins except for Uber, but they're already winning. So
They
we're
have
good.
these promotions all the time too. I get them all the time.
Every weekend, Uber has been giving me 50% off Ubers every single weekend. So I'm like, well, this is one, it's good I'm not driving. Two,
15?
50.
50.
50%. So
Jeez.
like last weekend, I was going to drive, I was going to go across the street. Well, not across the street, but I was going to go across downtown. And I was like, okay, like if I have to pay for parking, it's going to be like $7 for an hour or so. And then it was normally $9 for the Uber or $4.50, 50% off. I was like, well, no brainer. I'm just going to take an Uber there because I'm lazy.
One of my biggest pet peeves in life is paying for parking.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it.
And the places that you have to pay for parking are universities, hospitals, just like the places should be absolutely free.
Hospitals have changed their system. Thank you. Because they used to pay you used to pay like $12 an hour. And people are like, I'm trying to visit my loved one, this and that. So there was this recent thing where they actually decreased all their rates like significantly. So it's nicer there, but yes, everywhere else you have to pay and it sucks. And downtown, like I was supposed to go vote.
Cole Harbor is hilarious.
Clubber's terrible.
Cole Harbor is like $4 for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I was going to go.
It's ridiculous. The meters are ridiculous there.
I was going to go vote at BC, and my voting center was BC Place. I'm like, okay, cool. BC Place is my voting center. I circled around 4 times. There was no parking.
Yeah.
I thought they'd have like voters park here. So I had to pay like $3 to park for 15 minutes to go vote. And I was like, they should be like giving me something to vote. In Australia, they give democracy sausages. When you go vote, they give you a sausage. They need to give me that.
That is unbelievable. As soon as you said that, in my head, I think we used to have family barbecues in my uncle's backyard. He lives like west side of Vancouver and has a big lot. So my dad is one of 11. You know that?
Yeah, I do that.
And I have 54 first cousins on that side.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we used to have like once or twice a year, we used to have like a family party that had like 140 people. It was stupid. In his backyard. And all he did was make sausages for like 6 hours.
Amazing.
He was just making sausages. Hey, you want a sausage? You want a sausage? Dude, I would vote 3 times.
Yeah.
Every time if they gave me a sausage when I walked in the door.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right?
Dude, absolutely.
I wonder what the turnout would be like if you just gave everyone like a Tim Hortons donut. Like, give them something, right? It doesn't cost much. We get more turnout. Tim Hortons donut, like, it would be the most Canadian thing possible. Here's like a little thing of maple syrup. I think it's a great way to get people to vote. And it works for Australia. Well, I think for them it's mandatory to vote. And if you don't vote, you can't like get fined for it.
Really?
But democracy sausages are a real thing.
You get fined.
Yeah, what the?
Yeah, you gotta vote, right?
That's crazy.
But also, I think I was talking to my Australian coworker about this, and I think the problem is you get a lot of people voting that have no idea what's happening, and like you might pick the funniest name, or like you might just throw away votes, which is I think kind of almost devaluing votes, because there's people that actually know what's happening and care, and those ones that actually want to vote, and like people who vote tend to know what's happening. If you have no idea what's happening, you just don't vote. And there you have all these people that have no idea what's happening in voting. So that might like just skew the results in a different way.
So if you don't provide a reason why you didn't vote or whatever, the first time offense is $20,
Yeah.
and the second offense is $50.
Okay, that's a small fine, but still.
$20.
I mean, it gets people to vote, right?
In
Otherwise, you're on
Vancouver,
the
it
hook.
costs more to drive there with your gas and park than $20.
Yeah, it cost me $3. Jesus.
Plus your gas.
Yeah. I could have walked actually. It would have been 9 minutes, but you know, it was rainy that day and I was like, guys, I'm not going to walk to vote. First world problems.
Are you that close to BC Place?
Yeah, it's really bad.
Mine was like 3 parking lots over,
Ooh, 3 parking lots. Oh,
and I still drove.
yeah. I wish I was a more active person, but you know.
It was at night.
It was 7 p.m. It was dark.
I guess everyone has different like caution levels of COVID, but like I walked in there and there's arrows on the floor, and I think there's 1 or 2 other people in there at the time. I went there at like 7:30 and the voting thing closed at 8. So it was like right at the end. People didn't want to be there, and all the volunteers didn't want to be there anymore.
They get paid a lot.
Okay, so all the people that get paid didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
Even like the person that I went up to and I'm like, hey, here's my voter card. Where am I supposed to go? They're like, go to section 51 or whatever. And I walk over to 51 and the girl just looks like she's asleep. She's like,
They do 12-hour days from 8 to 8, like 7 to 8 roughly. Then they have to count.
not
after.
taking anything away from how hard they're working. I'm just saying she was exhausted.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
And I just walk up to, always try to break the tension with a joke, right? I'm like, almost done. I know. Like, sorry I showed up so late. And she starts laughing. I vote, do whatever and I walk towards the exit door, and someone from the back is yelling. Again, there's like maybe 2 voters there, me and one or 2 other people. Like, sir, like looking around, frightened. She's like, you need to go that way. I'm like, there's no one here. Who cares? Like, does it matter? There's an exit door 4 steps in front of me. Just let me go out. No, that way. Okay. Like, is that necessary?
No. Like right by the exit door. I actually worked one of the elections maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, because they actually pay you, and like they pay you for the training, which is like $30 an hour. You get 2 or 3 hours of training. Can't remember the exact amount. Maybe it's $25 an hour. And then to work the entire day, it was either, don't quote me on this, from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 7 a.m. to like 9 p.m. It was roughly either $450 or $650 for the entire day. As a student, I was like, that's a lot of money for one
sweet.
day. And if you can get into advanced polling, that's like a shit ton of money.
Really?
And everyone there gets paid, and like there's supervisors, there's like the door people, there's the poll takers, and everyone gets paid for it. And it's a lot, and they pay a lot. I remember like as a student, it was very nice working there, because I'm like, I made more there than I made at my average job at GNC, like probably double. So I was like, this is not too shabby. I think it was like $400 we made that day.
Thurman did this here.
He volunteered and helped out?
No, you get paid.
He got paid.
Oh, yeah. Why do they call them volunteers then?
He's employed. I don't know. Probably just social perception.
Does he have any funny stories or?
Yeah, he does. I don't know if I should share them though. Said he basically did nothing for 12 hours.
Especially the polling station you're at. Like, where I went to BC Place, and that did all of downtown. And BC Place is huge. So it wrapped around half of the stadium. And I think there was like something 60 or 70 different booths there. And I asked the girl, I'm like, how busy has it been? She's like, oh, you're the first person in 40 minutes. I'm like, that's not bad on election day, not in advance polling. It's like, that's not bad. She's like, yeah, my list is only about 300 people. And how many of those will actually show up?
Her booth was only 300 people.
I don't know if that's how many that came or how many that were were on the list, but yeah.
Thurman, he did it for like a week or 2 weeks in the advance polling, maybe a week.
Yeah.
And he said, like, his job was basically, as people were walking in, he was told that his job was to say, please have your ID out. And there was 4 of him.
Really? Yeah. Just standing there telling people to have their ID out.
Please have your ID out.
Thank you, BC government, for
Good morning,
calling this
ma'am. Please have your
expensive
ID.
election.
They couldn't have a sign or anything?
That's it. And he was advance polling, so he's like, there would be an hour in between like people showing up during the day on like a Tuesday.
Yeah, because they're all
From
8
like
to 8
10 to 12 p.m. or 10 to whatever, noon.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be very many people coming. Anyway, Nav, you're a celebrity.
I'm a celebrity.
Yeah. Weren't you on Global TV?
I was on Global News.
How did that happen?
So
And what did you talk about?
So yeah, how it happened was we have a really good marketing PR person, and she works for us as well as Vancouver Symphony Orchestra, and she's been fantastic. She's this is like she's asked me multiple times to go on TV or go on radio, and I was supposed to go on last year, but then I had like a family emergency, so I couldn't go on. And then I was supposed to go on TV twice, and then I kind of just turned it down each time because I was actually very afraid of going on TV because, like, 1, it's live. 2, like, what if I'm sweating a lot? What if I'm red? Like, it's live TV. I can't control myself, right? What if I swear? And then eventually I was like, you know what, Nav, like,
What if I swear?
that's my biggest fear. I'm like, you know what, Nav, like, you have to do this once. Like, you won't know until, like, this is my mentality in general. Like, you won't know if you're good at anything or if you can do anything until you do it. Like, let's say I like froze up or swore. I'd be like, okay, it's not for me. Let's say I nailed it. I'm like, okay, I could probably do more of these. And yeah, so she set it up and she's like, we actually prepared. So I was on Global TV News and we were talking about October was Children's Health Month or Children's Vision Month, sorry. And we talked about children's vision for a 4-minute segment live at 8:20 in the morning on a Sunday, Thanksgiving Sunday, or 8:40 on Thanksgiving Sunday. And I was like, okay, we're going to talk live on TV. And I asked the people 10 times, I'm like, this is live. And like, they didn't give us a lot of questions or general direction of what they're going to ask. Like, okay, it's me about children's health. I'm like, it's a lot of things you can ask. And like, part of me was a little worried. I'm like, what if I don't have an answer? What if like I don't have anything? And then we're running through like practice the night before. And I just
With who?
With Sarah. She's our marketing person.
Okay.
And I'm running through practice and she was really good. She's like, sat me for 2 hours on Zoom. She's like, let's look at your lighting levels. Let's look at what you're wearing. Let's look at everything else. And I'm like, okay, like, let's just test runs here. And then I do a test run and I just like, and I'm like, this, brain fart. I'm like, and I have no idea what I'm saying next. And I'm like, this is not going to go well. Or like, I swear, like, it's just stupid. I guess because I know her, I was like a little more casual, but I was like freaking out. I'm like, I'm going to F this up really, really bad. And then at one point, I'm like, I called my sister. I'm like, hey, can we do a test run? And I tried to do a test on my sister. I can't even form sentences at this point because I'm so tired. And she's like, you know, you'll be fine. Just get some good sleep. And I called my friend Pavin. And Pavin is, he's done like every TV show possible. He's kind of a go-to person for every news station. He's an optometrist as well. And like, he does like, he's like the go-to person for optometry, I'd say. And I'm like, hey, dude, like, what I do, he's like, oh, like just act natural, act casual. He just starts talking to me about various things. He's like, see what you did there? Like you just talk naturally. And I was like, okay. And he's like, that's what you have to do. And he's like, and don't worry about it. It's only 20,000 people. I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, seriously, 20,000 people. And then I wake up in the morning, go on live television, and it was actually really easy because it was just everything I ever talked about in my exam room with a stranger.
Totally.
And it was probably the best thing I've ever done. Like best work I've ever done. Because I did very well on it. I thought, like, I've had patients come in because they're like, oh, you did a great job on it. We want to see you specifically. People came from Vancouver. And it was nice because like it showed me, one, that I can talk on TV, and two, I don't have to be scared of it or afraid of it. And I'm like, this is dope.
Have you ever like analyzed yourself what the fear is? Like,
So-
what is the cause of the fear?
Yeah. And this is one thing I got into like 2 or 3 years ago, because one of my friends gave me this like link about CBT, like cognitive behavior therapy. And essentially, whenever you have a fear or anxiety, think about why you're nervous, why you're worried, why you're scared.
Yeah.
And then I looked at, like, okay, that makes sense. I never like applied it. And then actually, like the night before, I was like, why am I nervous? I'm like, oh, I might say the wrong thing. I'm like, do I ever say the wrong thing, or do I ever swear in an exam room? I'm like, no, I see children all day and I don't swear. So I just told myself, like, every thought I had, I tried to make it logical. And then I was like, yeah, like I'm not going to mess up. There's no way I can mess up except for a brain fart. But also I don't ever brain fart in the exam room. So like, why would I brain fart here? And then like at 8:30 in the morning, like instead of being like super anxious and nervous, I was like pretty confident, I think. I was swiveling in my chair because I didn't realize I was sitting on a swivel chair. So like, I'm like just moving it a little bit the entire time. If you look at it, it looks like I'm like shaking weirdly. I'm like, no, I'm just swiveling in my chair just like 2 degrees each way. Yeah, it was nice because like every question she asked, I kind of expected, and it was nothing that was unusual. And there's no hard questions. There was nothing weird, and good experience for myself.
Going in that morning, is there like something you tell yourself going in? Because for me, it's like on camera or in front of a mic, it's not like, it just feels natural to me because I've done it so many times now in the last couple of years. But public speaking still is a bit strange for me. Mm-hmm. And I've done it a few times in the last 2 years. And every time you get more comfortable. But I always like tell myself something going in. Is there something in your head that you like?
Yeah. It's like normally my thing would be like, okay, like the natural thing I think is like, okay, I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm gonna do wrong. I'm gonna do poorly. Like I'm not gonna do well. And then you just gotta change that mentality to like, you know, like I do this every day. I'm gonna rock it. I'm gonna kill it. And I can tell myself like, yeah, like I'm gonna do well. They're gonna get like, I just changed. Like it's something weird that happened on mine like a few months ago. I was like, stop thinking about the negatives. Think about the positives. And like you think about what you've done in the past. Like think historically, do I mess things up? No, like I'm gonna do well. I'm gonna nail it. I'm gonna do well. I'm gonna do well. And that's like, I tell myself like that over and over again. And I get excited about it. And I said like, let's just see how it goes. I made more of like a challenge for myself. Like I know I'm gonna do well. Let's see how well I can do. And then like the night before, I was nervous. Morning, I like woke up like, we got this now. We got this. We being me and myself, but I got this.
Do you I forget what I was gonna say. It was gonna be really good though. It's gonna be super, super good.
You hit a classic brain fart there. Yeah,
but that's part of natural conversation. Like people forget shit all the time.
I had 4 minutes. It was a 4-minute segment. I'm like, I can't have a brain fart in those 4 minutes. And I was also trying to like sell myself and sell the business, sell optometry. Like I can't say anything to upset any other optometrist because like it's a big, where I think real estate is the same thing where it's like you just have like a board that governs you, right? Or do you have an association? You do, right? Yeah. So like I can't upset other optometrists, can't say anything terrible, and it's recorded, so it's forever. So I don't want to be that one guy having like a random swearing competition there.
There's so many tangents where you're going to go off on.
Yeah, but nailed it. Like I thought it would. And that just reaffirmed what I said earlier, like the whole CBT thing, like think about it. What are the possible outcomes? Yeah. And then everything I thought I was going to do happened. Like everything I thought that was going to do positively happened. Nothing I thought negatively did happen. So I was like, why am I worried? And then that's helped me so much with like just worrying in general. Cause like why worry when you know it's gonna be fine?
You know you're really good, right?
Now what?
At your profession.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Do you know that though?
I thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you know that?
I think are you asking me? Are you telling me I'm good, or are you asking me?
I'm asking if you know you're good.
I think I do. I think I do a good job at my profession. That's what you're telling me I'm good.
I've seen you in a professional environment a
Yeah.
few times. I have sent all my family and friends that need eye doctor stuff
That is good. I appreciate that.
because you're good. You're really good. You communicate really well. Even on Saturday when I came in to get sunglasses, I walk in and you are talking to a dad and a son about the son. And like, I didn't really hear what you were saying, but the way that you communicate is really, really well. Like you communicate really well. And you can tell when you're communicating that you're very confident in your, I don't know if you say diagnosis or like assessment or whatever the right word is. And I just know you're a really smart dude. How long have you been actually practicing?
So believe it or not,
I'm going to guess
yes.
2.5 years.
So I've been practicing for 3 years,
3 years.
and 3 months.
Okay. Let's say 3.5 for easy numbers. Was there an adjustment period? Because like, so what I'm getting at and where I want this conversation to go is that comparing to my world in real estate, it's very easy to sign up for a course, pay the $1,500, whatever it is, read a book, fill out the assignments and write an exam and pass. And now you're a realtor. The competency level from going from passing the exam to good realtor is years. The difference, obviously, in the medical field is there's a shit ton of education.
Yep.
Right? So how many years is optometry school? 4?
Theoretically, bachelor's degree, and then optometry is 4, so 8 to 9 years roughly.
Yeah. You're smarter than me. I get that. I'm totally happy.
Book smart, yeah. Book smart.
But coming from so much education, do you go into the field confident? Or is it like, how long did it take you to be that guy
So
that I saw on Saturday?
I have very, very strong thoughts on this.
Okay.
And so there's different ways to look at it. And a lot of schools, especially the one in Canada, they go very academic.
Yeah.
And, you could be the smartest person in the world, but if you can't communicate with people and you can't relate to people, no one will want to see you. No one will like you. Like a lot of what we do, especially optometry, is communication. And I want patients to like me, understand me, but also I want them to like have the best diagnosis. And it's a fine balance of the two. And it's a weird thing because like for your profession, you have to be knowledgeable about real estate and you have to be likable. Because if you hate real estate agent, there's enough to go around. And same thing for us in Vancouver, there's enough to go around. And what I find is there's a lot of people that are smart, but they're not good conversationalists. And like to actually understand a person's needs and what the person is like. Like I have people that come in, they're like, like for example, like, I want some glasses, but like my workplace is really unique. I don't want to wear glasses because I look weird and this and that. And I'm also like, for example, I have a patient who's in a military band. And he's like, my only goal is to look at sheet music and then look at the conductor. And then I'm like, okay, like I understand what you're talking about. I understand the distances. And I make him glasses for both those things, to look at sheet music and to look at as a conductor. And it's like understanding that what the person is saying as well as what their needs are. And a lot of people like, it's the whole textbook thing. Like they understand, hey, your prescription is this is what we'll give you. It's like, no, every single person is unique. We have to find a solution that works for you. And I have people that work in the film industry, a lot of film industry people, and they're looking at computers 12 hours a day, plus looking across the set. And like, well, let's just make those two things work for you. And the biggest thing for me is finding a solution that works for everyone. And back to your question, sorry about a little tangent there, but back to your question. So the biggest thing is I think you have to be able to communicate well to people because you can be the smartest person in the room, But if you don't communicate well, people don't understand what you're saying, and they don't respect you as much as if you can communicate well.
Yeah.
I could be pretty stupid. I could fake it, but if I can communicate well, they won't know it. I hire students from UBC, and they do a term with me, and they get graded for it, and I'm part of the UBC program there. And one thing I've always looked at, because I get their grades and I get their resumes, and for me, I don't hire based on grades. I've had applicants that are straight A students. I'm actually less inclined to hire them than I am inclined to hire the B or C students, because in my industry, communication and personality is where it's at. And that's what sets you apart. Plus, that's how you communicate to patients.
So this is for like front of house staff, right?
No, it's the technicians, the ones that work.
Okay.
Like, I guess you haven't come for an eye exam, proper eye exam yet,
Yeah.
but like they do all the imaging, they do all the explaining of machines, and then they set the room up for me. And for 3 years now, I've had students, and it's been amazing. So like after 6 months, I was like fed up with our current technicians. They were not good. So I was like, let's hire students. They're great. I was a student once, I was a technician. And then I'm like, we also get 75% of their wage subsidized. So let's hire students.
Wow.
Yeah, we pay them like $5 an hour. It's great.
75%?
With certain programs. And then it's like when I'm hiring students for this role, and if I was to hire for, like, let's say I was to look for an optometrist, I wouldn't want the A+ person. Just because everyone has a degree to a certain point, and they're very smart and they're proficient. Mm-hmm. I look more for the person that has a personality that does stuff outside of their workplace.
100%.
Because that's the person you know that you can relate to and that has more of understanding. And myself, like I was an A student, but I was also really unique that I was also extracurricular person. So that made a big difference for myself. And that's what I look for in a hire as well, is not the smartest person. I hire 100% based on personality and communication.
In our business, like one of the things I say all the time to our team is the most important thing is being a chameleon. You have to be able to listen. You have to, like in any listing appointment, any new buyer appointment, any new interaction of any sort, whether it's a new realtor, whatever, you have to be able to listen, interpret what is important to this person,
yes,
and alter your communication to what they are going to understand. Right?
Yeah, that's exactly. That's exactly what I do every day, because I see a new patient every 15 minutes. I can go from seeing a lawyer to a construction worker to a student, and I'm trying to explain their health and trying to explain their needs, and I have to be able to relate to them, because I can sound like the smartest person ever, but you may not understand me, and
100%.
I have to relate to you and talk in your language, and that's the chameleon is probably the best term I've ever heard, because that's what you have to do in almost any job. I think you need, especially in our jobs, being a chameleon is very beneficial.
I'll ask people on our team, I'll be like, what's the most important part of your job? And they'll be like, something real estate related, right? Like real estate experience, knowledge, neighborhood knowledge, contractual knowledge, or whatever.
You'll learn all that.
Wrong.
You can train all
it's
that.
Listening.
Yeah.
Your sole job is to listen and alter information based on how that person is going to understand it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably important.
Yeah.
Every listing appointment I go into, other realtors like always ask me, like, what's your presentation like? Do you like drop off? Do you have a physical presentation that is like a booklet that you drop off? I'm like, no, I just go in there and listen to people. Like,
I'm a human.
My whole goal for the first 10 minutes of any listing appointment is to ask questions.
Yeah.
So that I can hear what they want, that I can alter how our communication is delivered, right? Like, yes, I think we do really well at some things, but the way that you present those things, or the order in which you present them, or like how much time you spend on talking about them, is completely altered by what is important to you. Yeah. So like, let's say Nav, this is pretty accurate, but let's say you're a 60-year-old woman.
Yep. So I feel like that sometimes.
I go in there like, just like an older person. The first question I'm going to ask is like, what was your last real estate experience like?
Yeah.
When you bought this place, or have you sold before? Yes, we sold a house 10 years ago. What was that experience like? They just talk, right? Yeah. You know, what was the communication like between your realtor and yourself? How long were you on market? How many showings did you have? What did you like about that experience? What did you not like about that experience? And honestly, I don't even get through that question list, because when usually when you ask, what was that last real estate experience like? they just open up.
Yep.
And they're like, well, we sold fairly quickly, but we didn't hear that much from we were on the market 30 days, but like we only heard when we had a showing. Like we never heard what the feedback was. Like a young couple came through our house. Like, did they like it? Did they hate it? Did they not like our paint color? Like so many questions. So boom, communication, huge for them. They want follow-ups. Done. Check mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easy.
I think like probably 80% of business communication is listening. Like for us, like I'm here to listen and
so
find a solution
undervalued,
for
man.
you. And you can't cookie cutter responses. You can't do the same thing for everyone. Every single person is different, and you got to cater to that. And that's what makes us unique and better, I think, what we do.
It took me a few years to figure it out. Like it's not something I think that is like intuitive. I think it's something that is learned over time of like failure, right? Like going into listening appointments and just like spewing out all my information, and you can tell by physical cues that the other person is not understanding or just losing interest, right? So you need to figure out like what is going to keep them interested. Okay, let's attack those like two ideas or whatever.
Yeah. For myself, you asked me earlier, like when did I realize like I got to this level where I was confident talking? And so in our last year of school, we do rotations and work at different hospitals and clinics, and we picked 4 of them. And I was in mainly like hospitals most of the time. But one of my rotations I picked was a clinic in Beverly Hills. And it wasn't medical anyway. It wasn't anything that I think would be beneficial experience-wise medically, but I knew it was one of the biggest private practices in America. All the celebrities go there, and it was one of the best practices. And what I learned from there was like how you talk to people is what really defines you as a doctor, and it really gives them the best perception of yourself. And that's where I got the confidence. Like you just go with it, you fake it. They don't know what's happening. Like they don't know how nervous you are. Plus, also like how you explain things and how you talk to them and listen is what really defines you as.
Do you think you fake it though?
Not anymore. Like
No. But like even back then, because I look back, you hear this term "fake it till you make it," and I've always been on the fence about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I believe it. I think the right term is kind of what I said before, like chameleon, in terms of like I'm not changing who I am.
Yeah.
I'm just altering the way my personality is coming out in a delivery.
I think you're faking the confidence because like I'm a little nervous inside. You can't tell I'm nervous. I'm faking my confidence, but I'm also learning as we're going, and but I'm also chameleoning, like you said. But I'm also like I'm faking my confidence because this is like my 5th patient I've seen. You don't know that, and if you don't know that, you're fine. If I know what I'm talking about and I'm just talking confidently, like that's the part I'm faking, because like some people, their emotions overcome them and they show their anxiousness in their voice, and that's where you lose people. And it's how you present yourself. And like that part I'm faking. I know all my stuff front to back, no problem. That's not what I'm faking. It's just my confidence I'm faking.
So knowing that we have a pretty similar like outlook on a new client interaction, how much time, energy, training do you guys put in your practice into that with the other staff in your office?
For just new clients or just clients in general?
Like, let's say customer service. How important is customer service in terms of like your entire office training manual? I don't know if you even have one, but like
we do. We have all that, and more than 50%. I think honestly, there's nothing more important than customer service. It's the first impression when you walk into the clinic speaks volumes, and then how you talk to a patient, how you present it, how you answer the phone. We try to make customer service the most important thing because we know our service is great. We know our product is great. We know our exams and everything else is great. We do charge more, but we offer, I say, more than the average practice. Customer service is what is the most workable thing. And that is what patients and everyone around us actually experiences the most. And you could have the smartest doctor, but if you have a crappy receptionist, people will be upset. If you were to look at rate MDs, things like that, like, oh, doctor is great, reception staff is terrible. I don't ever want to be that person. I want to be like, it was an experience. I came there, I was like we used to offer coffee to everyone that walked in. We used to offer beverages and like water or like snacks. Can't do that because of COVID, but like we used to make an experience because we want you to like coming here. We want you to enjoy it. And customer service is the best thing we can do. And we always kind of tailor ourselves around like a Harry Rosen or like a Hilton. You go there for a reason. Like people are spending more, but you're getting more out of it. And it's that whole getting value for your dollar.
Have you ever thought about offering people sausages as well?
Here is your optometry sausage. You know, we used to offer coffee.
I would come in every day. I wouldn't necessarily purchase things, but I would be in there.
But we do offer that in a different way. We offer kids like little sunnies.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have the Denny Dumas sunglasses. We offer Lynn Valley Optometry sunglasses for kids. If the kids are happy, the parents are happy, and the parents will come in. They'll tell their friends. Like that is one thing that I've actually really tried to target is making the kids happy, because like 6-year-old, you're going to see this like random dude in like an eye exam, he's gonna shine lights in your eyes. It's a frightening experience. If the kid leaves happy, parents happy, they tell all their friends, and somehow you end up seeing a bunch of kids every day.
How do you, because this is one of the big challenges I'm having now in more of like a leadership manager role, is how do you communicate that to staff? How do you communicate that, like, look, every single person coming in the door, if you treat them exceptionally well, that could result in millions of dollars of business in the next 20 years, right? Versus like, if you are having a mediocre day, let's say a dude that is one of the technicians comes in, he broke up with his girlfriend last night. He comes in, he's in a shit mood. He treats one person like shit. Like, he just thinks he's losing one customer. He's like, whatever, it is what it is. I'm having a shit day. Versus understanding that, like, putting all that personal stuff aside, treating people extremely well is like such a long-term benefit.
So it's so interesting you asked this, because this is the hardest thing I do every day. And
it's really difficult.
So I manage the clinic, and every day, like, my optometry stuff is actually easy to me now, because I rarely missed. I'm gonna say I almost never miss diseases. I don't miss anything. I do well on the optometry side. That is easy for me. The people management side is the hardest thing I do every day.
Every day is a learning curve when you're managing.
It's a struggle, because you're dealing with, we have about almost 19 or 20 staff members now. And one, you try to manage yourself. I'm a 30-year-old person, 31, try to manage my own like life. And then you're trying to manage 20 other people's lives. And you're like, and you have to be the face of it. You have to be the composure. And you're like, one, I have to hold my composure, because if I'm upset, then everyone gets upset. And the question to you is, like, I always say, so for myself, I'm very good, and you're probably good at this too, is you leave your personal problems at the door. No matter what's happening in your personal life, you turn that face on where you're there for the patient, and you make it their experience. And that's one thing I think I'm very good at. And I try to tell my staff, I'm like, you know, this patient here is here for 5 minutes, and especially for my seniors, you can make or break their day, because this, for some seniors, this is the only thing they'll do that day. So let's make it a pleasant experience for them. I want everyone to feel valued, and I want everyone to feel like all their needs and they're just being fulfilled when they come into the exam room.
Just that they're valued, right?
They're valued,
like,
and that's what it really comes down to. And I try to explain, like, okay, imagine if that patient that just came in that was grumpy to you, you don't know what's happening in their life. Like, maybe they just lost their son. Maybe they just broke up with their significant other. Treat them in a good way. Don't go to their energy level. Bring them up to yours. I always say that, because, like, if someone's being grumpy to you, or like being like rude to you, don't go rude back to them. Never do that. Be positive. You'll actually bring them up to your level. And I always say this, and they're always surprised, because someone will be frustrated for some reason, and then when I get to the exam room, they'll leave happy. And like, what'd you say? I'm like, I just brought them to my level. I bring positivity to their life. If you just act negative towards them, act angry, they'll leave angrier. You'll never get them back. And like you said, it's one patient we're losing. It's a yearly thing for us. Like, for you guys, like, someone buy a house once every 10 years, right?
Yeah.
For us, they're coming every year. They're buying glasses or contacts every year. So the actual revenue over 10 years, it's not like it's $1,000. It's like $5,000 to $10,000 because, $150 for exam, glasses every 2 or 3 years. That's like $500. It really adds up. So if you lose one patient, that's $10,000 lost over the next 10 years. So I really want to value every single person when they walk in. And I say, treat it like your mother or your grandmother. And that's how I treat my patients. That's why I was so nice to your mom when she came in. I treat them like my family. And I think that's what has helped me as well.
I had this conversation with one of the realtors on our team a couple days ago. Is like, you want to treat people so well that when they leave, they're yelling about you. Yep. Like when they're having dinner with their friends and someone says, oh, I'm looking to buy a condo. I'm looking to sell my house, whatever it is. You want that person to be so excited about working with you that they're yelling at their friend. Oh, you have a realtor already? Mine's better.
Yep.
Versus like if they leave the real estate experience, let's say, they bought a condo, you did everything fine, but like on possession day, their place was not clean. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
You're a realtor. Like you're the buyer's agent. Go in, it's not clean. If I spend $300 to send a cleaner in there for them, they are ecstatic. So pumped.
Yep.
And they leave the experience being like, that guy's the best guy.
Yep.
That's the best realtor of all time.
Yep.
Versus like, if you're just like, I'm so sorry, this happens all the time. Like, I'm really sorry. I can give you a cleaner contact. You can call them. You can get them in tomorrow. It's gonna be a few $100. That's the difference between someone talking about, let's say Nav's talking about real estate. I'm sitting across the table. I had to pay for my cleaner in this example. And I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Have fun.
Yeah.
Versus like, you have a realtor? Oh, no. Mine was way better.
Yeah.
Here's his phone number.
Yeah. And even for us, like you said, with you're paying for the cleaning, I try to do it with everyone. Like even for like when a new mother comes in or a pregnant woman comes in, I actually bought 300 of these Dr. Seuss, the eye books. They were like $6 each, bought a ton of them, wrapped each one. When a patient comes in and they say they're pregnant or they're just had a baby, I'm like, here's a present from us. Sure, it says compliments to Lynn Valley Optometry on the first page. They will never forget that book. They see the eye book. One, they remember us like, oh, like Dr. Sodhi gave this to me. And two, what a nice person. Like, they'll tell their friends about it. And like, it cost us $6 a book.
Huge.
They love it. That was one of my favorite things I did. And like if it's around a birthday, I'll give them some chocolates. If like unfortunately if someone passed away, sometimes we'll send flowers or cards if it's a patient I know. And I'm at that point now where I see people 4 or 5 times now, like for annual exams, and some patients I see every 3 months. So like I know my patients pretty well, and I see 3,500 people a year, but I know them all, or I know a lot of them pretty well. So it's at that point where like it's the same people coming back. So it's nice.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool. We're 31 years old. Are you 31 now?
Yeah.
When's your birthday?
I'm July 17th, so 3 months younger than you.
So you're 31 too. It's cool. Like, you sound old when you say shit like this, but like going through the different stages of life, when you're 31, I look at friends around me and I'm so pumped for like people who are doing what they're excited about and like doing really well, like being successful. And you're one of those guys for sure.
Thank you.
And I look at you and I think like, this guy's 31. He is one of, I don't know many optometrists, but because my eyes are perfect.
That's a true statement. I can verify that. Denny sees 2010. better than average.
But I have lots of friends and family members that have needed glasses and contacts and all that shit. You're better, which is so cool to me to look and to be able to like refer my friend to my family and my friends, being like, hey, Nav is the best dude in the world. Call his office, text him. He's just going to treat you better than other people. And,
I appreciate that.
And my mom is an example, and I'm not trying to like make you feel awkward or anything. I'm trying to make a point. Like, customer service matters so much.
Yeah, I agree.
My mom's had worn glasses for, what is she? 62. Well, what should I say? My mom's 34. Mom's in her 60s. Let's say that. And she's worn glasses for probably 40 years.
Yeah.
And after she left your office, She called me and is like, that was by far the most technical exam I've ever had.
Yeah.
Nav is so friendly, and I just felt like he knew exactly what I needed before I even knew what I needed. Mm-hmm. And so like those things from friends and family are huge.
I appreciate that.
And honestly, man, I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's really exciting being like 30 years old, and I'm a person who has a lot of pretty big ambition, and it's cool to see friends that are also like just dominating their industry or their specific little niche that they want to dominate. And it's really cool.
It absolutely is. I have to agree with you so much there. I love seeing friends do the same thing. Even yourself, like with real estate, you've killed it.
I'm having so much fun. That's the cool thing is like, yes, I didn't think I would be here. It's crazy to think it's been 7 years.
That's when you worked at Oscars or Darcy's or Oliver Twist, right? Yeah.
Also, probably the most valuable experience I've ever had is being a bartender. Mm-hmm. Going back to like how to communicate with people, you would get like construction workers that are ordering bottles of Budweiser and yelling at you because someone on their job threw a nail at them, that day, or like whatever. Versus like people coming in for lunch that are very professional, wearing a tie, and wanting a little bit different avenue of service, right?
But even it goes back to the same point, customer service. Like no matter what you do, like for example, I go out in Yellowtown a lot, and there's a place called Parlor, and then they really are able to talk to people, and being able to talk to that person, no matter what they do, will get you more tips, more money, and they'll spend more. And that's what they do really well. And I think a lot of bartenders in general do really well is just being able to communicate in customer service. And I think no matter what you're doing, I think I heard this in a story once, like a lot of what we do every day is sales, and we don't know it, but a lot of what we do every day is sales, and sales is all customer service.
Whenever we look to bring on a new realtor, and maybe this is like sales specific, not so much like real estate specific, but the two industries I love seeing on in someone's history is hospitality.
Yeah.
Because if you're bartending or serving, you are literally the definition of a chameleon. You need to be able to communicate really well with tons of different demographics. And the other side of it is sports. I like people that have been like higher level sports, like let's say playing university.
Yeah.
Just because then you have a lot of different qualities that you just kind of naturally get instilled in you, like humility, because you lose a shit ton in sports and it sucks. And like hard work. To get to that level, you need to work pretty hard. And then like coachability usually is another thing from like university athletes, is like you can take direction.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, you'll be like, yeah, I fucked up. I need to do this better next time.
Yeah, there's nothing harder than when someone can't take criticism, because then you just like don't want to tell them to do a poor job, and then they just keep doing a poor job. Being able to take criticism is a skill. Like it is an absolute skill. Constructive criticism. Yeah.
I want to ask you a more specific question on this. So you had 8 or 9 years of university.
Yeah.
Of education. Let's say half of that was like medical optometry specific.
Yep.
How long, once you got into your career, did it take you to feel like you were an industry expert?
I don't know. I still feel like that personally, but
you are though now.
I felt very confident at around the 1 year mark, and that's only I got very fortunate where I got to meet a lot of people quickly. And when it comes to being drug reps and all of our industry reps, I'm able to communicate well. And because of that, I was able to meet a lot more people and meet people that were 10, 15 years in the same position as me ahead of me in my career. So they were good mentors for me. So my first year, they helped me quite a bit. Like my friend Pavan, he helped me a lot the first year. And even the doctor I work for, Dr. Altaz, he has helped me a lot. So like walking into this scenario, I had good mentorship. And I think by the first 3 months, I felt really good. First year, I felt confident managing the practice and doing every day-to-day opportunity.
How'd you make those connections?
I like to drink beer, and they like to drink beer, and I'm good at that. No, I'm just kidding. But
being social, dude,
it
100%.
really is.
100%.
And I think being social and being able to communicate is big, because if you are willing to put yourself out there and talk to them, they'll talk back to you, and you make friends that way. And then from making friends, you actually make relationships.
Are you messaging them though?
Yeah.
So are you like, I don't know if there's a list of optometrists in BC, but are you like DMing are you Googling top optometrists in BC?
It's a small community, so we got
like,
lucky.
what's the size? Do you know the
700 optometrists.
That's it in BC. That seems really low.
Yeah, it's pretty. It sounds reasonable.
What's the population of BC? 2.4?
5 million.
5?
5 million. Yeah, it's like 4.9.
Oh, maybe Greater Vancouver is 2.4.
Greater Vancouver is like 2.4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's
that seems low. 700 for
no, but like I see 3,500 patients a year.
But
And
you don't. Isn't your practice like one of the busiest in BC?
that's just one person though. And like, for example, my friend Pavin has like 5 optometrists, and he probably sees 10,000 patients a year. But that's not, every patient's not coming back every year, right? So it's probably like on average, you probably have 10,000 unique patients coming in. Like some patients will come in every 2 or 3 years, some will come in every 5 years. So we see a lot of people, and some people have, like yourself, you don't see an optometrist because your vision's great. So,
but I come in for sunglasses
and for like, you know, the occasional like eye bump and stuff like that.
just to say hi and ask you. Yeah, I got a fucked up eye because of the COVID masks, man.
If you were 2 days faster, you would not have this little bump left over. And I gave you the drops on a Friday night. You filled it Sunday.
I don't think that's correct.
It's okay. It's all healed up.
What kind of customer service is this now? If you're blaming the customer?
I called the prescription to the pharmacy for you. I can't make it easier for you. The pharmacies, I can see the pharmacy from here. I did not make it easy. I could not make it easier for you.
It's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
It all worked out.
It's a battle wound.
Yeah.
I'll remember 2020 for the rest of my life because I have a big fucking red mark on my eye.
That one podcast where you're wearing sunglasses was great.
Wasn't it?
It was great.
I asked Jamie, remember that one?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I asked Jamie, it was a real estate podcast. I walk in, I'm like, Jamie, you have 2 options. 1, I wear these stupid sunglasses. 2, I look like this. He's like, yeah, that's a pretty tough choice. You make the call, man. I'm like, all right, I'm wearing the sunglasses.
You made the right call.
Right? It looked like shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I went into, it's pretty funny, right? Whenever something is like glaringly wrong, I think it's hilarious to just call it out. So when was that? That was probably like July.
Would have been like, yeah, June, July.
And July was a really busy month for us this year. So we had a lot of listing appointments. So I'm walking into the listing appointments for like a week. Let's say 5 or 6 appointments. And I walk in and be like, hey, my name's Denny. I know I look like shit. I know. My friend's an eye doctor. This is what I would say. Yeah. My friend's an eye doctor. He's like one of the best in BC. This is what
Thank you.
I would just like classify you like that right away. It's an infection. Like I've been wearing this mask the last 2 months. All this bacteria is going up, and I would just go into this 2-minute explanation right away.
I cannot explain how many. So still background there. So Denny was wearing a mask like everyone else in Vancouver, and with masks we get a lot of air coming up to the eyes, and you get a lot of breath bacteria there. So the number of styes we've had in the past 6 months is ridiculous. And Denny was unfortunately one of the people.
What was mine?
A sty, yeah.
That's a sty?
Yeah, a sty is like a generic term for like an eyelid growth, but
it's like an eye pimple.
Yeah, it's like an infection of the gland, but yeah, so a pimple, yeah. But the number we've had, it's been a 10-fold increase. Like probably every week I used to get like 1 or 2 like a month. Now I'm getting like 5 or 6 a week. It's just because unfortunately because of masks, we get a lot of breath bacteria, and Denny was unfortunately one of the people who got it, and it's just a matter of it's a whole new world we're experiencing, which is like eyelid bacteria.
But you know it well.
Yeah, I looked at it like
this is how good, just for people listening, this is how, if you need eye attention, you need to call Dr. Sodhi.
Or just Nav.
I still feel awkward calling you. I walk into your office and I'm like, hey, is Nav here? They're like, oh yeah, Dr. Sodhi's just with the patient. I'm like, oh, okay, tell Nav I'm here.
Yeah. When you say Nav, they're like, oh, yep, that's his friend.
Is it awkward when people call you Dr. Sodhi?
I'm used
Was
to
that
it.
an adjustment?
No, it was kind of like a clout moment there. I was like, yeah, I'm really happy to say it. I've worked in the last 10 years to do this.
Yeah.
I loved it. And every time everyone said it, I was like, yep, like it. Then after a bit, now like I'm actually starting to introduce myself not as Dr. Sodhi to patients because like I'm a little older now. I'm like, oh, like I am Nav Sodhi. Nice to meet you. And then because everyone else calls me Dr. Sodhi, they know, right? But when I was a little bit younger and newer, I feel like I needed to say Dr. Sodhi so they knew I was the doctor.
Do you think it's just an old school thing?
100%.
Like it's just like a prestige thing.
100%.
Call me Dr. Smith.
I think on the last podcast we did, we had this exact conversation.
Totally.
And it's all like, it's clout. And it comes down to that. Nowadays, like I'm Nav Sodhi, nice to meet you. And with like older patients, I'll still say Dr. Sodhi so they don't think I'm like a child coming in, like my 70-year-olds. But like, if someone's under 50, I'll say, I am Nav Sodhi, nice to meet you. Yeah.
So what I take from that as someone who's trying to be a good listener is you're getting to the point in your career, which is super exciting for me, that you are so confident in your ability that you don't need to hide behind the label, which is really, really cool, right?
I think we're getting there, yeah.
That's so cool. When you're just like, hey, what's up? I'm Nav. Yeah, I'm the best fucking optometrist in BC.
Oh, please. No
Like,
one,
not that you're saying that, but like your confidence and the way you present yourself to clients and your knowledge backs it up.
Yeah.
But like, you're Nav.
And it really makes me feel like I'm blushing a little bit now. It makes me feel really good about myself. Yeah.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah.
To me, that's super exciting. That's cool.
That's a goal, right? That's a goal.
That's cool. When you get to that point, because then you're invincible. It's a fine line though between getting to that point and staying there versus like thinking you're God. Not like
I absolutely despise those people.
Totally.
And I know those people in the industry, like they're some of the biggest names. And I just like, there's people that are, if they're like my friend Pavan, he's willing to help us, like help me. When I first met him, he was very supportive. He's probably one of the biggest names, is on every TV show, but he doesn't nothing as God. Whereas some people, they're just so full of themselves, you don't want to talk to them. And you absolutely have realtors like that as well, where they're like, I don't want to take this listing. It's only $3 million. Like, screw that. And I hate those people. Like, I absolutely hate those people because they're not good people, I think.
I think it's slightly like our generation is changing a little bit. I think it's more, I say this all the time. I've said it before. The worst people in the world are old white men. They're shitty people. They're pricks. They grew up in like the 50s, 60s, 70s when there was no internet. Mm-hmm. There was no repercussions for their actions. They got to treat people like shit and they kept moving forward. Like, I categorize my dad like this. Like, I'm like, Dad, you can't say that anymore. It's 2020. This is not 1973, man. What is happening? But I think our generation's different. I think our generation is a lot more receptive to a broad spectrum of ideas.
Yeah.
Like, we don't care if you're gay, if you're a woman, if you're trans, if you're Asian, if you're whatever. For me, looking for like new realtors on our team, can you talk to people?
Yeah.
Can you communicate really well? Can you problem solve? Because literally I spent probably 4 hours today just firefighting. That's all. Oh, fuck. Okay, let's figure out a situation. Let's figure out a solution. That's it. Mm-hmm. I don't like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to our clientele who you are. Are you just going to communicate well? Yep. And are you going to solve problems?
I have a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
So
I love questions. By the way.
So do you do interviewing at Denny Dumas Realty?
Yeah.
So what's your process? Do you sit down with them? Do you talk to them? Like, how do you, so when you get these applicants and you bring them in, how do you realize, or how do you find
for what position?
For a realtor, let's say, how do you find someone's a good fit for you?
So I'm going to be completely honest here. I hold very little value on education.
Yep.
Very little.
Me too.
So if someone
too.
send like probably in the next like 3 to 6 months, we're probably going to be looking for another realtor because I think, quote me on this, Carl, 2021 is going to be a crazy real estate year. Interest rates, Bank of Canada has just announced, are staying where they are, which is ridiculously low.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 1.5%.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's free money. I think real estate's going to be crazy. Next year, 2022, maybe too. And I think we're going to be really big. We're spending so this is something I wanted to ask you about, marketing stuff. I'll come back to your question in a second. Marketing stuff, like how much effort, time do you as like part of running your clinic spend on your website, on social media, on like attracting new people to the clinic?
So my opinion is the best way to attract people to your clinic is customer service. Once again, I know this is the general theme
I
here.
100% agree.
Yeah. If people,
But outside of that,
yeah, but if people like me, they'll tell people, yeah, that's the best way. And then we do have a marketing person. We do like our Instagram, like for your Instagram, it's awesome. Like it's fun to watch. People like looking at houses, things like that. We're trying to make it fun. We're trying to show, I don't know if you follow us on Instagram, but we're trying to like showcase our new frames. We're trying to make it more fun. We're spending more time there because there are a lot of companies that have done well with that.
you know what I'm getting more value out of than like showing houses off
Yeah.
is information.
Yeah.
Is being the leader in that industry.
Yep.
So for you, like, I don't know, we could dissect your industry a little bit better at another time, but like being like, why not have like a 2-minute explanation of, hey, a lot of people are wearing masks right now. Like we're super conscious of COVID. Like a lot of people, we've had 10 times the amount of eye infections. Yeah. It's a simple fix. Come see us. We're going to give you this like really simple rub that you rub on your eye twice a day. And it's solved.
Yep.
It happens all the time. Here's my buddy Denny with a stupid photo of his one eye puffy and one eye not. This is what a lot of people look like right now. It just is what it is.
We've been trying to do that in the morning on Thursdays. Like me and this was one doctor. Like we're both we like to talk a lot. So we want to start our own little morning segment, like how you and Jamie do, where we just talk for 10 minutes on our Instagram about eyes. And well, we're gonna start this pretty soon, but we're gonna have people asking questions. I think that would be a great source for us.
Huge.
Website for us is huge, but the biggest thing for us that draws people in, besides anything else, is Google reviews. Like people look up
Google reviews are unbelievably
people look up
powerful.
optometrist in North Vancouver, and it's tough because I haven't found a good way to. Every patient leaves happy, and most people are very happy to leave. We send them an email, like a little survey, but no one, like everyone says, like they do the internal survey. And they say like, oh, we're really happy. You guys are always great. No one leaves a Google review, and I'm trying to get them to like drive them there.
So this is one thing we did last year. I think, yeah. It's the same for us. Like we're not salesy people. You know that.
I've never asked for Google review except for my friends, but yeah.
Right. We're not salesy people. It's awkward for me to like ever reach out to a past client that I've had a good relationship with and ask them to talk to their friends about me. Like it's super awkward. I would rather try to be exceptional so that they just do it on their own.
Yeah.
But for Google reviews, they're extremely powerful for any business, for any business owner out there. A way that we found to like get around it that made us feel okay about it was we sent out an email to our client base last year that, and it was like, we selected them. It was like anyone who had done a deal with us in the last 12 months or something. It wasn't like our entire database. And we said, for any Google review, look, we just outlined it. Google reviews help our business. Yeah. People search us online. They read Google reviews. They pick us based on Google reviews. It helps our business. Yep. We want more business. We love you guys that you've used this in the past. For the next 30 days, any Google review we get in the month of whatever, January 2021, we're going to donate $100 to Children's Hospital or like whatever charity, whatever foundation that you'd like to. And I think that month we got like 50.
Wow.
So
dude, 50 Google reviews at like 5 stars.
I don't know if it's that much. It was maybe like 25 or 30. Like it was a lot. But people see that and they're just like, they understand it a bit more, that we're just outlining that this helps our business. we're asking you for a review,
Yeah.
but we're going to do something about
But
it.
you know, at the end of the day, you spent $5,000 there.
Exactly.
That's nothing. Like,
So we
that's nothing.
and we doubled it, and we
Yeah.
did 10 grand to Children's Hospital, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, it was Children Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah.
Which was so cool. And then we got this like family that came in, this little kid who I think he was like 7 or 8, and he had been battling cancer for a while, and like his wish was like to take his family to Disneyland.
Yeah.
So cool. So we got to like,
You guys took it there?
no, we didn't take him there, but we like
Hop on the plane.
we like donated 10 grand
Oh, towards that.
him and his family to go to
Amazing.
Disneyland. It was so cool.
Yeah, that is probably like the wheels are turning here. I'm like, yep, that's what we're gonna do now. So thank you. And like it costs you what, $5,000? Like we spend more on marketing in general than that, and so that's pretty. Like I've gained some great ideas here.
That's what podcasts are all about.
I know, like holy
Just
shit.
sharing shit.
Yeah,
I hope the viewers, like that, anyone that's listening that's running a business can like add or take something away from this, or DM us and like ask us our opinion on certain shit, or maybe they need glasses and they understand now that you're the best optometrist in BC. And your buddy, we'll put your buddy up there too, Pav.
Pavin, he's great.
Pav
Daddy.
Pav Daddy.
I made an Instagram for him called Pav Daddy 69.
If you walked into his office and say, "Is Pav Daddy available?"
Oh,
what would his staff say?
They'll be like, "Oh, Nav sent you, eh?" It's funny because this is a side note. All through optometry school, my nickname was Nav Daddy, and then
Amazing.
and I walked to his car. He's 20 years older than me. I'm like, "Why is your like in your Bluetooth things this is your name?" I'm like, "Why does it say Pav Daddy?" And I showed him my phone. I'm like, "This is fucked up." We've been friends ever since.
Okay, we went off on a. What was your question there?
How do you find your realtors? Like, what questions do you ask? Like, what do you say?
In
What do
that
you,
first meeting?
Yeah. like-
Honestly, man, it is. I'm learning. Now I'm 31 years old. I feel like I'm a veteran, but I know I'm not. When I'm 41, I'm going to look back and be like, "You're an idiot," at 31. But at this time, I feel like my intuition's fairly good. So a lot of it is like gut instinct. But really what we were talking about before is just like how you communicate.
Yeah.
So I have zero questions, just like podcast now. Going into a podcast, going into a interview with like, let's say in January 2021, we're going to be looking to bring one more person onto our team. And we're going to post some shit on social media. We're going to have 25 people reach out to us. I'm going to meet with 7 of them, whatever. It's a conversation. Like I'm meeting them for coffee at a Starbucks or where, like whatever. And I'm just asking about them. Like, what's your background?
Right.
Oh, you played sports? Sweet. Like, tell me about that. You worked in a restaurant? Hospital? Like, I told you the 2 things I love.
Yeah.
You worked in a restaurant? What was that like? What was the clientele like? Who's your favorite regular? What was their drink? Like, what was their life? Like, what was their story? And just like, it's just a conversation.
Right.
So for me, there's no questions. It's not like, in this situation, when a client asks you this, what would you do?
Right.
It's not practical. It's just like, can you communicate well with people? Are you, can you listen well?
Listening, customer service. 2 themes tonight.
It's it's shockingly unvalued, I think. Overlooked, I'd
Right.
say. But honestly, that's it for me. Like, what am I looking at to get a person to that coffee meeting? Personality in the email.
Yep.
So like if I get an email that is like, "Hi, Garbett Duma Real Estate. Please accept this as an application towards the position available. Thank you, James."
Yeah. James is not getting a call, that's for sure.
I may or may not open their resume
yeah.
that they included. If the first thing on their and this is extremely biased, and I'm totally okay saying it. If the first thing at the top of their resume is education, it's a delete.
Mm-hmm.
We're not an education-based
No.
business, right? Like, I understand that an optometrist needs a certain level of education and a degree, certificate, whatever the
hiring optometrists is easy. It's the front desk and everyone else that's harder,
Totally.
right? Like
Yeah,
the staff, which is hard, right?
Right.
Yeah. And like that one, education.
For me, it's
doesn't
personality.
matter.
Personality wins. and ability to like accept criticism and learn.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily apparent in that first 30-minute coffee meeting, but I think there's a certain way you can attack asking them a few questions about their background that will show you whether they're kind of like motivated or whether they're conceited or whatever, right? The way they answer questions is super important. And they're random questions. It's not like it's based on this career. It's more like, oh, you played basketball in high school? Sweet. Like, how's your coach? Mm-hmm. Oh, he was a dick. Oh, that's a red flag.
I started learning more and more about that, like how they talk about other people or their friends or like
Huge.
It's interesting because I never thought about that. And then like,
huge.
Oh, like if they talk negatively about their previous employer, I'm like, yep, that's kind of red flag there.
What was your role on that team?
Yeah.
You love playing high school basketball? What was your role? Oh, I was the power forward. You know, like I really enjoyed that. Like one of my best friends, Carl was 6'7". He was a beast in high school. He would score like 20 and get 10 rebounds a game. It was wicked. Nice. And I just wanted to work off him. Like I knew that I wasn't the best athletic person in the world, but like Carl would get double teamed and I would just get into a position to be able to shoot, you know, be open to shoot. Like that kind of shit is cool versus like, oh, I was the man. You know, like all the girls love me in high school. You know, like my buddy Carl, he was taller than me, but like, you know, I was way better. You know, my coach loved Carl just because he was tall, but you know, like you can tell right away that personality difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I look for. I have zero specific questions going in. I will 100% look at their Instagram profile.
Yep. Oh, I search everyone on Facebook and Instagram right away. And LinkedIn. Well, LinkedIn if they have it, but yeah.
Yeah. If you do not have Instagram and you are sending me an email to be a realtor on our team, you are deleted. That's it.
For your industry, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually prefer when they have a private Instagram personally.
Really?
A whole different world, right? So
I get it. But
like,
at the same time, let's say I have a 30-year-old friend.
Yeah.
That's name is Carl Sabula.
Yep.
You don't know him. He doesn't know you.
Yeah.
And I say, Carl needs glasses. Me and Carl are having a conversation after a podcast. One of our guests leaves. Carl's like, fuck, man. I was driving here. It was dark. I can't see shit. I'm like, you need to go see my friend Nav. Nav is the best optometrist in BC. He's going to help you. He's going to listen to you. He's going to get you into the right product. He's going to give you a discount because you're my friend. Whatever. He's probably going to charge you more because you're my friend.
Oh, the Denny Dumas 10% promo. 10% extra.
These glasses are $5.99 regularly, but because you're friends with Denny, $7.50. Carl's going to be like, yeah, fuck, Nav sounds like a great guy. Dr. Sodhi sounds like a great guy. I'm going to Google him. What comes up on Google? Maybe his Instagram profile, maybe his like website for his practice clinic. What do you call it?
Clinic, yeah.
Clinic?
Well, practice,
Not practice
or clinic. Either one's fine, yeah.
I like practice. I think it's fun.
Especially
You know what I like? You know what I loved about the word practice?
I hate it so much, but you
hate it?
say.
Hold on.
It sounds like I'm practicing. Like I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason that I love it, and maybe this is just like I don't know, different spin on the word, but the reason that I love practice, I would love to say like real estate practice, because we're like you're never good enough. Like you're always getting better.
Yeah.
And that's like something that I wake up every single day and I'm like, how can I get this much better today?
That's such an interesting like twist on the word there, because like I don't think any
practice,
of us
you're getting better.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. I always looked at the opposite way. It's like, oh, like you don't know what you're doing. Let's go about practice. That's interesting.
And communication for our business, for your business, same thing.
Yeah.
Ultra important. Every single conversation you have, you learn something small, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, this person is like, you know, it's easy to say this, and people know it. Engineer type, like very analytical. Like
we know all about that.
Lots of questions, like, and I'm pumped about these people because it's fun, and it's like I get to show all my knowledge. Where
That's
like
one of us. Yeah.
someone who just like maybe is referred to us and is like, I'm a first time buyer. I don't know anything. I just need your help.
Yeah.
We just guide them along the way. They don't get all of my knowledge because they don't ask a lot of questions. Engineer type, we love you guys. They ask
get all
a
of my
lot
knowledge.
of questions. They're so much fun, but they're different.
Yeah.
And you got to treat them a little bit differently, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know where I was going with this. What was the point of the story?
Carl?
Where did this start?
I don't even remember.
Engineers, though, they're a whole different beast. I have to say, like, as a son of engineer, they ask a lot of questions, and it is very frustrating because they want you to show your entire showcase of your work ethic and everything else, and it gets very interesting to see an engineer in general.
But treat it as like, oh, we're talking about practice.
Yeah, there
That's
you
why.
go.
Getting better.
Yeah.
So like all of those like little interactions, I feel like you slightly get better. And then the next time you're asked that exact same question, or even in an interaction with like a similar personality type, you're so much more confident.
Absolutely. Everything is in life, everything's practice. And it's just getting experience, getting confidence up. And it's a matter of like how fast you can do it and how well you can do it as well.
I've always liked the medical field in calling it a practice. Honestly.
Great.
Because like
I appreciate the term now.
I've been to many doctors.
Yeah.
I've been to, I don't want to say many. Many sounds like a lot. Let's say a handful of doctors where I've like walked out of the experience and been like, man, they just prescribed me something. The conversation was really awkward. They sounded kind of insecure. I don't know if this is going to help me or hurt me.
I feel the same way every day, and that's like I base what I do every day on my personal experiences. I never want a patient to feel like they were rushed, not listened to, and that they felt like they're questioning what I did. And I once again based it all on personal experiences. So I've had doctors who are like, dude, really, like that's what you said? And I Google it afterwards because we all Google stuff after. I'm like, I don't know, that's like I don't know, like I hate Dr. Google, but like I don't know if that's the right thing. Like that makes sense to me, but yeah, I always treat my patients like how I would want to be treated as well.
One of
explain
the
stuff.
Coolest things I've adopted into my life philosophies, Nav, is no one knows what they're doing. And this is not necessarily word for word, so take this for what it is, people. No one knows what they're doing. We're all just trying to get better. Mm-hmm. So like the greatest optometrist in BC that we're sitting across from right now, not that he doesn't know what he's doing. He knows a fuck ton of information and he is a scientist, in my opinion, on the eye. He knows a lot. But every day he's still getting better, right? So like we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes in real estate. You've probably made mistakes. Maybe just like, not necessarily mistakes. Mistakes sounds negative, right? But let's say mistakes in communication. Like I've left interactions sometimes and I like what my point of view was in that interaction, but I didn't present it well enough. Yeah. And so I'll leave and be like, I should have said it in this type of way versus this, whatever I said, right? So not necessarily like harmful mistake to someone's health. Yeah. Like you're responsible for, or harmful mistake in terms of someone's investment in my line of work, but like more communication and like how I can present things. And I'll walk away from interactions all the time and dissect them in my head as I'm driving home. Yeah. And so when I hear like medical practice, I value that term and I think it's a really cool term. Yeah. Because it just like,
it means you're getting better. It means you're getting better.
Totally. Yeah, it's like we are a professional in this environment and every day we're trying to strive to be better than we were yesterday.
That is so awesome. I've never thought of it that way.
That's what I think about it when I hear medical practice.
That is probably the best thing I've taken away from today is that maybe that or the Google review thing. I don't know. They're both great things. I think I've benefited more than anyone else here.
Because like I think about in our business. Yeah. When I'm 41, I'm 31 right now. When I'm 41, I'm going to know way more about real estate than I do right now. Yeah. And I know a fuck ton about real estate.
Yeah.
But like, it's just a progression. Like
Absolutely.
it's a ladder, right? You just keep getting better.
And like what I love about
If you want to keep getting better.
absolutely. And
Right?
that's the big thing is wanting to get better.
Yeah.
And what I love about my area is like there's times when a patient comes in and I see a disease and like no disease shows the same in everyone, right? Like you'd think it'd be textbook, but because the human body is so different, every disease shows differently in different people, right? So we look at the cornea or the retina, I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I look at it like, look, this looks like this, it has this, and I try to break it down. And I have no fear in saying like, there's a big anomaly in your retina. I'm going to send you over to like the best retinal specialist or the best corneal specialist. Cause I know all of them well now, luckily. I'm going to send you the best specialist. I have no problem saying like, I don't know what's going on, but they do. And that's, I think what my patients like is like, I will get this person to look at it because they are the best in the area. And they like that. I like that. I learned from it. And then if I ever see this like fucked up thing again, I'm like, cool. I've learned from it. And like sometimes like I had this one patient, which is like a rare 1 in probably 10 million disease. They came in and I looked at it. I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what's happening here. Sent her out to the best specialist. And he's like, oh, this is like Ascor. I'm like, I've never heard of that in a textbook. Had to Google it. Found this little article this big on it. I'm like, that is the most obscure disease I've ever heard about in my life. And yeah, I was like, that's a learning experience. And that's why we practice to get better.
Dude, man, it's so fun.
Love that term.
You learn
Love
shit
it.
every day.
Yeah.
Someone called me this afternoon at 4:30. Said, hey, my insurance, we complete tomorrow. Is one of our clients. They complete on a condo tomorrow. It's a leasehold land in North Van. My insurance broker just called us and said, hey, we're not going to insure this. And it's content insurance. Like it makes no sense.
Huh.
We're not going to insure this because it's leasehold land. What do we do? I'm like, I don't know, but I can call like 5 more insurance brokers for you. Like, I don't know the answer.
Yep.
But I can know people
solution.
who can find the answer for
Yep.
you, right? Like, I'm not the insurance person. Same with like accounting and like GST and stuff.
Yeah.
On new construction or like renovated homes. I don't know if you ever you probably don't deal with this on your side, but like, what do they say? Significantly renovated homes, more than 75%. Like, does GST apply? I don't know, but I can like help you find the answer.
But I think people appreciate, like, if you don't know the answer, I've learned people appreciate you saying, hey, I don't know versus BSing an answer, but I'll find you the answer. And sometimes people like, it doesn't happen a lot where I'm like, I don't know the answer, but if I say I don't know the answer and I'll find you the answer, people appreciate that a lot more because you're actually going more than anyone else would. So you could easily dismiss the question and say, oh, go ask your accountant. But the fact that you're willing to make the effort to find the answer, people appreciate that. Customer service.
So I've checked my phone 3 times tonight. Oh, okay, that's good. So the reason I've checked my phone 3 times is because of that insurance question. And I connected him with another insurance broker. Well, I sent him 2. One of them didn't answer the phone. The other one answered right away. But now he said, we'll hopefully get that in the morning. Thank you for the help. Like, that's it. My job is to solve problems. That's it.
Yeah. It's like when you're playing Sellers of Catan, you're just trying to make the most deals, right? That's Danny's mustache.
Dude, the more people that are your friends, the better. Like, we're 31 years old now. We've had 31 years to figure this out.
Yeah.
The more people that like you, the better.
Yep.
Right? Let's say you meet, what do you say, 3,500 people a year?
Yeah.
If 3,500 people love you, in 10 years from now, that 3,500 is going to be 35,000, right? Whereas if it's half, it's probably more like 3,500. Mm-hmm. It's exponential.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
Like me, I love you. I know you are really, really good at what you do, which makes me super excited because I'm your buddy, and I love seeing my friends be successful at what they love. I'm trying to send as many people as possible your way. Like, I'm that guy that, remember when I was talking about yelling at a dinner party about a realtor? I'm yelling about an optometrist. Someone's like, I need my eyes. I need a new prescription. I can't see out of these damn glasses. I'm like, I got the guy. Call me, pick me. You know?
I
Like,
appreciate it so much.
but because you're way better, right? It's easy. If you were mediocre and you were like typical doctor, wear the tie. Yeah, you need this 0.75 on the right eye and 1.75 on the left. You know, like, I would never say your name.
Yeah.
Because it's mediocre. But I love you.
Appreciate it.
I think I think it's super exciting for me. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's super exciting for me to see friends that are crushing what they are really passionate about.
I really appreciate that.
What do you think of your industry as a whole? So there's 700.
Yeah.
And this is slightly selfish, let's say, because I have opinions about my industry.
Yep.
I love some realtors, and other realtors are interesting to work with.
Yep.
There's 700 optometrists in BC. What's the overall perception of the public? What's the overall feel from an insider in the industry? How do you stand out?
So I think about this a lot, and I feel careful what I say here, but
You don't need to be careful.
I know, but a lot of people think it's just glasses, and glasses is such a small part of what I do. Like what we are is we're primary care providers. Anything eye care related, you come to us. I'll diagnose your prescription, but that's probably a third of my exam. I'll diagnose the eye health, the brain, like more or less the brain, from like how the neurology, how the eye muscles are working, how your eye function is working. We look at so much there, and and then if anything's askew, I'll treat it or I'll refer out. And a lot of people think it's just glasses, and unfortunately, a lot of these like cheap practices, remember like Bailey Nelson, those places like that, they only try to hire people for glasses. And I remember like telling patients, I'm like, hey, like you have pretty significant glaucoma. I need to like get you started on treatment. They're like, oh, I'm fine. We'll just get you started on like I'll just take the prescription and go. I'm like, you are losing your vision. You're going blind. But it's hard because like we have a name for ourselves because we do so much disease prevention. We spend probably $1 million on equipment just to diagnose everything to the best level possible. But unfortunately, a lot of people think it's just eye health, and the way the industry has been turning because of online sales and people trying to find the best bargain is they go to like the cheapest places, like unfortunately the Lens Crafters or their Bailey Nelsons or the Ollie Quains, like the places that do just vision checks. But there's so much more than just vision checks.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I want to look at your nerve. I want to see every angle of your nerve, make sure there's no damage there. I want to look at the entire peripheral retina, make sure there's no holes, tears, and breaks. I want to look at every aspect of your eye health to make sure that when you walk out of here that there's nothing that's going to go wrong tomorrow. And that's my biggest thing is like, I want my stamp and signature on your eye chart saying like, Denny is healthy for all of tomorrow. And that's my biggest thing for myself is like, I want to provide the best care. And unfortunately, a lot of people think it's just glasses. And a lot of people I love the industry, not the industry, but insurances and online retailers are moving it towards just glasses. But that's a third of what we do. 2/3 is eye health. And that's the biggest thing for us.
So I know you've had a big role in your practice in the last, I love saying practice. I say practice. You should have Allen Iverson.
I was thinking that as you're saying it.
I know you've had a big role in your practice. You and, what's your buddy's name?
Altez.
Yeah. I met him one time. He's a beauty.
Yeah, you did actually, yeah.
I thought he was a very nice guy.
Great guy.
I know you've had a big role in like management of the practice in the last couple of years. Of course, customer referrals are huge, but like, what do you guys are you guys spending much time and effort, or are you just too busy? But are you spending much time and effort on like new customer acquisition?
Yep.
And what, like how?
once again, Google reviews is one of our biggest things, and we.
How are you proactively getting those though?
So a lot. So there's two things we're doing. So there is a lot of companies that work on MailChimp is out there. There's optometry civic companies that work on our social media and things like that. And we signed on with one company who's doing our Google reviews, and they're not doing a great job. But luckily, we signed on with a different company where essentially every patient gets a. So this is just for Google reviews again, but they get a text message after the appointment, and this is like, "Hey, we'd love if you gave us an opinion on how your experience was today." Yeah. And it links them towards Google review, which is great. But so we have our marketing people working on Instagram, Facebook, social media in general, and then we also have our SEO working on when you search optometrist North Vancouver, that is what they're looking at. And like we do spend quite a bit of money on that, but once again, people, the fastest way you'll search anything is optometrist North Vancouver, optometrist near me, or my eye hurts, and we want to be the first person that shows up for any of that. And I think search and engine optimization is one of the biggest things for us as well, because if we show up before everyone else, it just adds validity to it.
It's wild.
Validity, yeah.
I just Googled Lynn Valley Optometry.
Ooh.
You have 87 Google reviews, which is great.
That's 2 more than yesterday. Well done. Yeah, we had 85 2 days ago.
Nice. That's great. 4.5 average.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
You can improve that.
It can get better. The SEO stuff is unbelievably huge. And a lot of people don't understand it, one of which is me.
Me too.
But I know that there's some really good web people out there. And like, if I told you how much money me and Jamie are planning to spend on the next 12 months of our website, SEO stuff, you wouldn't believe me.
We just built a website.
Unbelievably powerful. We just built a new website in the last 24 months.
Yeah.
It took a long time, way longer than it should have. But we have a new website that launched in May, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
April, May. And there's some things wrong with it. So we've found a company that I think is going to be really good for us, that is going to fix all that stuff and get us much higher. We've spent a lot of money and energy and time in ranking high in Google, and is unbelievably powerful.
Absolutely. Cannot agree with that anymore.
It's like, I think I'm underestimating it, but I think it's probably 40% of our business.
I would agree. Like, of our new business, maybe 60, to be honest.
It's huge.
Either walk by or Google. And we always ask patients on our welcome form, how did you hear about us? And it's either word of mouth, Google, or I'll walk past you guys. And like, there's no one says Bing, no one says anything else, so we're good.
Bing, is that still around, Carl?
I don't know.
The hell's Bing?
You're the first search on Bing. One patient every year. I don't know what that patient, but yeah.
It's crazy. What long-term goals for Dr. Sodhi?
Well,
what does that look like? Because this is really exciting to me. Remember, I announced that I love seeing my friends being successful in like things that they're enjoying.
Yeah. So,
and I have a few.
Mm-hmm.
You're definitely in that category, but it seems like you have some big goals that are fairly close, and I'm pumped about it. But like, what does that look like in the optometry world?
Yeah, so it is difficult because with our industry, for you to start up, you don't need a lot of capital to begin with, and you get your license, and then you get some you need some stuff, but you don't have a huge amount in initial investment. We talked about that earlier.
You know the reason I got into real estate?
Yeah,
is because I wanted to be in an industry that I did like architecture and some types of real estate and stuff like that. But the big thing for me was I wanted to be in an industry where the harder I work, the more money I could make, versus making 60, 80, 100 grand a year salary. And whether I showed up 20% of the time or 150% of the time, it didn't matter.
Yeah, I actually
and real estate with that. But the second thing, so one was like harder I work, better upside potential I have. 2 was low barrier to entry. Because when I got into real estate, I did not have any money. Like I think I had like $8,000 or $9,000 in my bank account, and that dwindled fast. But I didn't have like, I don't know, what's a optometry practice worth that is doing really well? $3 million bucks.
Our
like,
degree alone,
I don't have that much money.
Our degree alone is like $250,000 for the degree, and that's
totally.
the whole student loan world there that we won't
Totally.
I'll discuss later. But to get into it, it's $250,000, like roughly, and then from there you're making a salary. But then to get to a practice, there's multiple ways to do it. And for myself, I was lucky that I got into a practice that's one of the bigger practices in North Vancouver. But as the average optometrist, you start working for a practice, then either you have to cold start your own practice, which is difficult because you really open a building and your first patients are your friends and family. And then you're slowly trying to build patients up. Whereas with us, it's a whole different world. I walked in a practice where partnership was on the table pretty much within a few months. And it's probably one of the bigger practices and one of the top 10 to 15 independent practices in BC, let's say. And partnership was on the table right away. Well, pretty quickly after I kind of proved my worth. And then I've been building towards that for the last 2 years, and that's very imminent. It's on the forefront. And now it's interesting because with optometry practices, the biggest thing is our entry is very high as well. Just like our degrees, our entry to the practice is high because we have machines, like we have a camera that was $150,000 that images the entire back of the eye. Best piece of machinery we have, but that's $150,000. And that's just one of like 20 machines we have. Most are like 10 to 15,000, but each of these machines costs a lot of money. We have probably 700,000 in inventory and frames, and all of that is a cost you have to account for buying into the practice.
Totally.
If you're a knee specialist that's just seeing patients, you're just buying the exam room because most of the knowledge is in your brain. Knowledge is in my brain too, but I need a lot of equipment and I need a lot of, because we have the sales aspect too, inventory. So for us, there's a big buy-in portion, and it's difficult because we have to factor that into our loans and buying into practice. And it's like, well, will the revenue I generate cover the loans plus my extravagant lifestyle? And that's what it comes down to. And for me, the biggest thing is buying a practice is one thing, but also building on that. Can I get this practice from level 5 to level 10? And then can I get, in my personal opinion, more practices and grow bigger and bigger? Because I don't want to stop at one practice. I don't want to stop at 3. I want to go bigger and bigger and then sell it all when I'm ready to retire.
So
and then travel the world.
Let's say you build a big brand.
Yeah.
Nav's Eats is going to be the blog.
Yeah.
Nav's Eyes is going to be the practice.
Yeah.
How does it go from 1 to like 3, 4, 5? Does it go, because I see 2 options. One is you, let's say, purchase the practice that you're running now or that you're managing now, and you get into new commercial spaces, into other areas, or do you purchase other practices around Greater Vancouver and just make them better because you're better at SEO, you're better at service, you're better at like technology, you're better at staffing, you're better at all that stuff?
So I believe the second way entirely. So I don't like cold starting in general. I think it's better to buy a practice that's not doing well. And there's a lot of just optical, no doctor in there. The tough thing for us is I've looked at this so many times. We're called Lynn Valley Optometry. It's not scalable.
It's specific. Yeah.
And I think that in our industry and maybe in yours, well, yours is a little different, but it's nice to be, for one practice, it's nice to be tied to the area because people feel a little bit of commitment to it. So if you were called, let's say, well, for us, if we're called New West Optometry, we're like, oh, New West Optometry feels local to home. But if you're called like Oasis Optometry, it's just a broad name. Like you can actually spread that over multiple clinics and actually build that name up more.
What did you say?
Let's say you call it Oasis Optometry. It's a very broad name, but I can build that brand name up more. Whereas Lynn Valley Optometry, I can only build up in Lynn Valley. Let's say open up a Lynn Valley Optometry in New West. That's weird. That's just weird. There's no relation or bearing. So how I would do it is, personally, is I would purchase up practices. Let's say there's a practice, let's say the practice down the street that's not doing so well. I would use exactly what I've done with our practice in Lynn Valley and use the same emphasis on customer service, emphasis on the experience, emphasis on just the quality of products and quality of what we offer, and let the product and brand speak for itself. Even though it's a different brand, it's kind of still tied with our clinic and then building it from there.